What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping by. You are very much appreciated. I see you watching us from South Africa, Zimbabwe, Angola, South Sudan. Thank you so much. Somalia, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Burundi, Sierra Leone, Sudan. I love you. Thank you, Jamaica. Yeah, I'm out of words. So thank you so much. It's your first time here. I appreciate you. United States, United Kingdom. Please subscribe if it's not done yet. I know we're going to like each other, so let's not waste time, okay? So today we're talking about something very interesting. We're talking about Uganda. President Museveni of Uganda is somebody very emphatic, and he's not playing. He's telling the truth the way it is. People don't like him very much. I'm sure you could try to familiarize yourself with President Museveni by watching these videos. Very strong figure right now. He doesn't give up about what you have to say. So Uganda has banned used clothing importation. They have completely banned used clothing importation.
I want to thank the investors who invested in the textiles, because now they have given me strength to chase away second-hand clothes. Because there is nobody who will stand in my way when he sees this picture of these children here who have got jobs from textile factories and then start arguing in favor of second-hand clothes.
To give you context, I know a lot of you guys don't necessarily live in Africa. Many of you have never been to Africa, so you can understand, okay? So in Africa, you get various type of clothing, okay? You could get your clothes from the shops, the market, the store. You could buy from an establishment, or you could go to the poor people market and buy second-hand clothes. These second-hand clothes are usually much cheaper, more affordable for most people who don't have money. Okay, this has happened for many years in the past. Many African countries are not necessarily doing it today, but it has helped many people in the past. You cannot continue carrying the poor man mentality in the future. Okay, let's get back to our point. Many Africans used to buy clothes from second-hand sellers because they could not afford it. Where did the clothes come from? Most of the clothes came from Europe and the United States. Donations. Okay, so you know those videos you see on TV about poor Africans suffering, a little kid with a big stomach and flies flying around him and he's crying, you know what I mean? That's the image they sold to Africa. And many people went and gifted their stuff to many charitable or charities. They gave their clothes and stuff for free. And this charity come to Africa. They don't donate these clothes. They sell them on the second-hand market. Massive market. We never knew who really benefited from that until these truths are starting to come out. Uganda President Yoweri Museveni has banned the importation of used clothing into the East African country, saying it stifles the development of local textile industry and that the clothes belong to dead Westerners. Yes, Mr. Museveni doesn't play. He said these clothes you're sending to Africa belong to many dead Westerners. So let's put a map of Uganda here so our brothers can see where Uganda is. Yes, Uganda is East Africa. Beautiful place, lovely place to be, great people. They love music. My God, they party like animals. They don't stop. Anyway, let's go. Like most African countries, Uganda has traditionally imported large quantity of used clothing, which some consumers prefer because of its low cost. But local manufacturers complain of the dumping of second-hand apparel swamp in the market, undermining Uganda's ability to climb the value chain of cotton and textile industry. Obviously, people that produce clothing in Uganda will not be very happy seeing, Americans and Europeans dumping second-hand clothing into the market and destroy completely their hopes of growing their textile. They are for dead people. When a white person dies, they gather their clothes and send them to Africa. Museveni said on Friday. This man doesn't play. At least 70% of garments donated to charity in Europe and the United States end up in Africa, according to Oxfam. We have people who produce new clothes, but they cannot infiltrate the market, Museveni said. We have people who are capable. They are producing clothes, but they are unable to enter the market. So Uganda produces a lot of cotton every year, massive amount of cotton, about 26 to 76 million dollars worth of cotton. I know it's almost raw or semi-processed. In 2026, East African community is very similar to ECOWAS. ECOWAS is West Africa. East African community is Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and some other countries. In 2016, they came together and said, you know what? We're going to ban the import of second-hand clothing. We don't want it anymore. We need to develop our own industry in the country to allow our people to have sense of responsibility and have money on our own textile. So East Africa Community, of which Uganda is member, agreed in 2016 to a complete ban of used clothing import by 2019. But Rwanda was the only country to enact it, because Rwandans don't play. Rwandan, they take decision and they stay by it. As a result, the United States in 2018 suspended Rwanda's right to export clothing duty-free to the United States. So Rwanda said, okay, I'm not going to import any more dead people clothes. And the USA say, okay, well, you are banned. You're not going to export to our market anymore. And then they say they want you to develop. They want you to be happy, make your own money, create your own industry. You see? So Museveni said the ban will also extend to electricity meter and electric cable, saying they should be bought from factories in Uganda. So he's going to ban electricity meters and electric cables.
Therefore, I have ordered all these government bodies, they must buy these meters from starting 1st of September. The Minister of Energy is here. The cables, the meters must be bought from our factories here and the ones in Kampala.
So you can see the president of Uganda is very slowly pushing back. Okay, he wants to develop Uganda in terms of finances. He wants things to be produced in Uganda. He wants people to benefit from the good of the country. You're not going to import electrical cables, you're going to buy them from Uganda. Now, what happened to Rwanda?
Africa does not need to be a dumping ground for second-hand anything.
Rwanda banned second-hand clothing in 2018. The ban was aimed at boosting its textile industry. As a result, the US ended Rwanda duty-free export privileges, but the country has adapted remarkably well. So Rwanda doesn't import second-hand clothing anymore. They have adapted. So that's what happens. So if you are deprived for something, you learn to adapt. If you don't have water in a house, you're going to find a way to find water. That's how it is. It's as simple as that. Now, they're trying to make you believe that you desperately need second-hand clothes because it's good for your economy. It's good for your people. Your people can actually afford it. And it's great quality. You can't stop the US exporting second-hand clothes. It's bad for you. You are sending a very negative message to investors. So basically, they say they want you to develop your country, to have your own textile and everything. But in the same token, they say, okay, now you cannot block us from sending you second-hand clothes that cost very, very little, very cheap compared to local producers. How are your people going to compete? How can you really mean that you want Uganda to produce its own textile if you're going to force them second-hand clothes that cost much less than the clothes produced in Uganda? So a communication email was sent to the responsible people in the embassy of Uganda so the world can understand what's happening. So according to Mr. Brown, who is a representative of the embassy, a ban could result in loss of thousands of jobs for Ugandans who rely on the trade and sales of used clothing for their livelihood. America feels sorry for Uganda. It's going to destroy jobs for Uganda. A ban will also cut access for many Ugandans to quality and affordable clothing. So quality clothing, according to Brown, is second-hand clothing. Somebody else wore it, he shot on it, then sent it to Africa. So that's quality cloth. He also further argues that the ban could counter the spirit of AGOA. AGOA is the trade that United States offer to African nations so they can go and export their goods and get preferable tax. If you stop us from sending second clothes to Africa, you're not going to benefit from AGOA. But we want you to develop your own textile. Brown admits that East Africa is one of the most important markets for the U.S. export in used clothing. The U.S. government estimates the East Africa accounts to 1/5 of global U.S. exports of used clothing. So 1/5 of U.S. exports in used clothing goes to East Africa. So it's a big market. Brown argues that the proposed ban will have a significant adverse effect on the U.S. employment, adding that U.S. estimates at least 40,000 U.S. jobs related to the collection, processing, and distribution of used clothing. It will face a negative consequences if the ban were affected. He says by restricting access market, this ban would counter Uganda's key point to U.S. investors, that Uganda is open for business. So in other words, if you refuse our used clothes, you're saying to investors that Uganda is not open for business. For them, businesses let us send our cheap, used clothes by people to you. So that shows that you're good people. Now, as you can see, fellas, Africa is trying very hard to liberate itself, to free itself from the grip of colonialism, of imperialism, and all that stuff. It's very difficult. Okay, so if you don't accept our stuff that are not very good quality, no American wants to wear it, no American decent wants to wear it, then you are counterproductive to your own development. By the way, your own people will suffer because it's going to cost more expensive for them. And number two, the people that are selling these clothes in your country are going to go through very difficult situations financially. I think Africa needs to understand that Africa can free itself. Africa will adapt just like Rwanda did. Rwanda adapted. They happy with not being part of this specific AGOA trade thing, but they've adapted. The textile is booming. People are growing. People are developing. The industry is moving forward. Uganda wants to take the same direction. We know President Museveni has not been in very good books of the US lately with his choices. If you're interested, please watch some of these videos. Enlighten you on what are his position. Let me know how you feel about this, fellas. It's always a great pleasure. Should African continue to export second-hand clothing? Is this necessary? Or should Africans actually fight to get better, to be able to produce their own stuff? We have everything. We have cotton. We have all the things that we have, the hands, the brains and everything. Shouldn't we do our own things and benefit from it? Let me know how you feel about this. Drop your comments. We want to read from you and learn from you. God bless.